Hello, ILS, and welcome back to Etiquette Tip Tuesday. Today, we're going to continue with greetings and introductions, part two. Let's start with the four parts of a greeting. In general, you want to think about a greeting as having four parts. You're going to start with a salutation, and that could be something as simple as hello or good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Of note, even if it's nighttime, you still want to say good evening because good night does not have the proper flow in the English language. Then you want to move into the title. So, Madam Basilisk or Soror Jackson, Madam Chair, whatever their title is, you want to be sure that you're using it when you're addressing them. Then move into part three, compliment or question. So if you ask a question such as, how are you today? Be sure that you wait for their reply and that you also respond in kind. Or you could simply give a compliment. You look fabulous today. I love your hair. Then move into your farewell. So, an example of putting this all together: good afternoon, Madam Basilisk. How are you today? I'll wait for her reply and then I'll respond in kind. It was nice talking with you. Have a good rest of your weekend. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to our sorority leadership, past or present, as well as our celebrity and honorary sorors, we don't want to fawn all over them. We want to respect their time, their space, as well as any other sorors who may be waiting to engage with them as well. So roll through your four parts of a greeting, and right between part three and part four, ask for your selfie. Take your picture, give your farewell, and then move on. That way, other sorors can also do the same thing. And we want to just be mindful of this because, one, we don't want to be rude. Again, we want to respect their time and space. And then also, we have to keep in mind that there may be 100 other sorors who also want to engage and take pictures with them. And so, when they're having to do this repeatedly over and over and over, no one soror needs to take up too much of their time. So, just keep that in mind. Introductions. So you always want to introduce yourself, of course, but also anybody else that's with you. Don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're with someone and then they see someone that they know and they start engaging with this person, and you're sitting there like, okay, are they going to introduce me, or am I going to just keep standing here like a knot on a log? No one wants to feel that way. No one wants to be put in that predicament. So just be sure that you introduce everyone that's with you as well. When you're introducing yourself, you want to use I am versus my name is. My name is not wrong. It just sounds a little bit more juvenile. And we're adult professional women, and we just want to sound a little bit more polished. Of course, as children, we were taught to say, my name is Nevonda Jackson. But again, we're no longer children. We're adult professional women and just want to use language that's a bit more polished. Now, when you have been introduced to someone, you want to address that person exactly how they introduce themselves to you. So if they say, hi, Nevonda, I'm Bob. He's telling me I can call him Bob. Or, hi, Nevonda, I'm Dr. Jones. Bob is telling me that he wants to be addressed as Dr. Jones. So just be mindful of that. Make sure you're listening when the other person introduces themselves so that you can address them accordingly. Now, when you're introducing others, you want to introduce from the least senior to the most senior person. And you can think of it as presenting that least senior person to the most senior person. And that could be in rank or title or in age. So you would be introducing, let's say, your new intern to your manager. Or if we're talking about age, you'll be introducing your friend or significant other to your parents or grandparents. Unless you got a sugar daddy that is about the same age as your daddy or granddaddy, that might get to be a tricky situation. So, but in general, least senior to most senior person, rank and title, or age. If for some strange reason everything else is equal, then it'll be the man being introduced to the ladies. So you will present the man to the lady because she is, I don't want to use the term most senior, but in this situation, that's how we look at it. So you would introduce to the ladies first. This is also true when introducing a group of individuals to a crowd. So if you notice at our conferences, when they're introducing the sorority leadership, they're going to start with the lowest ranking soror all the way up to our international grand basileus. So it's the same concept. So SG-Row introductions, these are in here for completion's sake. You can read through them at your leisure. These all come from our protocol manual, which can be found on our website in the Sorors Only section. So I do encourage you, though, to read through them so that you make sure you're addressing and greeting our sorors in leadership positions appropriately. All right, so let's talk about communication. Just very general, high level. There's two types of communications. We have what we say and then what we don't say. So we have our verbal communication, which can be spoken or written, and then we have our nonverbal, and that's things like our body language, our gestures, our facial expressions, or anything else we use to communicate a point without using words. And I put this in here because sometimes we as humans do have a tendency to express ourselves non-verbally, and sometimes that can speak louder than words. So if you're standing there with your arms folded and your face looking a certain way, you're communicating to people around you that you don't want to be bothered, and that's okay. But we just have to be mindful of that in certain situations. So if we're in a position where we are representing ILS or representing Sigma Gamma Rho, we don't want to look closed off. We don't want to look like mean girls. We want to be sure that we are presenting our friendly and open selves. All right. As always, if you have any questions, please send all of your questions to ILS Representation Committee at gmail.com, and I will be sure to answer the question as well as send it out to the chapter in case anyone else also had the same question. Thank you so much, sorors.